For centuries, humanity has stared out at the vastness of our planet, a blue marble teeming with life and wonder. But beneath the shimmering surfaces of our oceans, high above in the silent expanse of our skies, and even deep within the untouched wildernesses of our continents lies a chilling secret. There are places on Earth where the very fabric of reality seems to fray, where ships vanish without a trace, planes disappear from radar, and even entire expeditions simply cease to exist. We speak, of course, of the infamous Bermuda Triangle, a name that conjures images of vanished vessels and inexplicable phenomena. But what if I told you the triangle is just one thread in a much larger, more intricate tapestry of mystery? What if Earth itself is dotted with zones where the impossible becomes terrifyingly real? Prepare to journey with us beyond the familiar legends into the heart of Earth's most mysterious disappearance zones. What we uncover might just rewrite your understanding of our world. To speak of mysterious disappearances on Earth is to begin, inevitably, with the Bermuda Triangle. Its very name has become shorthand for the inexplicable, a byword for the unsettling idea that certain geographical areas possess an inherent, almost malevolent capacity to swallow ships, planes, and the lives aboard them. But before we venture into lesser-known territories, it is crucial to dissect the legend of the Bermuda Triangle itself, separating documented history from sensationalized myth, yet acknowledging the undeniable core of genuine, unresolved disappearances. The geographical boundaries of the Bermuda Triangle are, in themselves, somewhat fluid, often described as an area roughly bounded by Miami, Bermuda and San Juan, Puerto Rico. This vast expanse of the Atlantic Ocean, critical shipping lane and aviation corridor for centuries, has indeed been the stage for a statistically anomalous number of incidents. While many can be attributed to severe weather, human error, or equipment failure, the common culprits of maritime and aerial misfortunes, a persistent residue of cases, defies conventional explanation, fueling the triangle's enduring mystique. Let us rewind to the mid-20th century, a period often cited as the genesis of the triangle's notoriety. It was in 1945 that 5 U.S. Navy Avenger torpedo bombers, collectively known as Flight 19, embarked on a routine training mission from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. What began as a standard navigation exercise quickly devolved into a horrifying ordeal. Their compasses reportedly malfunctioned, and radio transmissions from the flight leader, Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor, grew increasingly confused, indicating disorientation and a profound inability to determine their location. "We don't know where we are," Taylor radioed. "We must have gone into a very strange direction. Everything is wrong. Strange. Even the ocean doesn't look as it should." Despite extensive search efforts, Flight 19 and its 14 crew members vanished without a trace. Adding to the horror, a Martin Mariner seaplane, dispatched to search for Flight 19, also disappeared, taking with it 13 crew members. The official Navy report famously concluded it was as if they had flown to Mars. This double tragedy, meticulously documented, laid a chilling foundation for the Triangle's nascent legend. But the incidents did not begin, nor did they end. The Flight 19. Accounts of inexplicable disappearances in this region stretch back centuries. Christopher Columbus, for instance, in his logs from his first voyage across the Atlantic in 1492, reportedly observed a great flame of fire falling into the sea, and later, strange lights in the distance. He also noted peculiar compass readings in the area. While not a disappearance, it highlights the early perception of navigational oddities in this very region. Fast forward to the 19th and early 20th centuries, and the list of vanished vessels grows. The USS Cyclops, a massive collier with over 300 souls aboard, disappeared without a distress call in March 1918, somewhere between Barbados and Norfolk, Virginia. Its fate remains one of the greatest mysteries in U.S. Navy history. Decades later, its sister ships, the Proteus and Nereus, also vanished in the same general area during World War II. These were not small vessels, but large, sturdy ships, their disappearance without a trace defying conventional naval wisdom. The rise of popular media in the mid-20th century significantly amplified the Triangle's fame. Articles in Fate magazine and later books by authors like Vincent Gaddis and Charles Berlitz cemented its status as a place of paranormal activity. Gaddis' 1964 article, The Deadly Bermuda Triangle, is often credited with coining the term itself, igniting public fascination. Berlitz's 1974 book, The Bermuda Triangle, sold millions, sensationalizing the theories and drawing connections between disparate incidents. Yet, amidst the sensationalism, it is critical to critically examine the explanations proposed for these anomalies. Skeptics often point to the high volume of traffic in the area, arguing that a higher number of incidents is statistically inevitable. They emphasize the prevalence of sudden violent storms in the region, capable of overwhelming even large vessels. Rogue waves, sometimes reaching incredible heights, are another documented phenomenon that could explain sudden sinkings. Magnetic anomalies, though usually minor, are also cited as a potential cause for compass malfunctions, though not enough to cause a complete loss of navigation or power. Methane hydrates, frozen pockets of natural gas trapped beneath the seafloor, have been proposed as a more radical geological explanation. A sudden release of these hydrates could cause the water to lose buoyancy, causing ships to sink rapidly, or ignite if released into the atmosphere, affecting aircraft. While intriguing, direct evidence linking specific disappearances to methane bursts is elusive. However, a fundamental question remains. Why do distress calls so rarely precede these disappearances? Why do wreckage and debris, which typically follow maritime or aerial disasters, so often fail to materialize? In many of the most famous cases, the last communications were calm, routine, and then silence. No explosion, no sinking vessel, no debris field, simply nothing. It is this profound absence of evidence that continues to frustrate investigators and fuel the theories of those who believe something truly extraordinary is at play. The Bermuda Triangle, therefore, stands as a complex intersection of verifiable incidents, statistical probabilities, and an undeniable allure of the unknown. While many disappearances can be rationally explained, a stubborn core defies easy categorization. It is this core, this lingering shadow of unexplained events, that serves as our gateway to understanding that the Bermuda Triangle is not an isolated phenomenon, but perhaps merely the most famous example of a deeper, more pervasive mystery woven into the very fabric of our planet. As we move beyond its well-trodden legends, we begin to encounter other zones. It's equally baffling, equally terrifying, where the rules of our known world seem to dissolve. As we journey eastward across the vast Pacific, leaving the tumultuous waters of the Atlantic's Bermuda Triangle behind, we encounter an equally, if not more, enigmatic region, the Devil's Sea, also known as the Dragon's Triangle or Mono-Yumi, situated off the coast of Japan, near the island of Miyokojima, stretching towards Iwo Jima. Legends speak of gigantic sea creatures, of underwater cities, and of malevolent spirits that lure ships to their watery graves. These were not merely fanciful stories. They were born from the brutal reality of vessels vanishing without a trace, often in clear weather, leaving no survivors or debris. The very name, Mono-Yumi, reflects this deep-seated cultural fear and respect for its unpredictable nature. Fishing trawlers, cargo ships, and even smaller private vessels have simply ceased to exist, often with no preceding warning of distress. The sheer lack of wreckage is a recurring, unnerving pattern. In many cases, search parties have found absolutely no trace, no oil slick, no life rafts, no scattered debris that typically accompany a maritime disaster. Both his massive invasion fleets, numbering thousands of ships. While the Bermuda Triangle's fame is a relatively modern phenomenon, the Japanese have been grappling with the enigma of the Devil's Sea for centuries. This long-standing oral tradition, predating the advent of modern technology and global communication, lends a different kind of weight to its claims. It suggests that whatever forces are at work in this region, they are not a recent development, but an enduring characteristic of this particular stretch of ocean. And hundreds of thousands of men were famously destroyed by powerful typhoons known as kamikaze or divine winds. It serves as a potent reminder that despite our technological prowess and our mapping of the globe, there are still vast, powerful forces at play, forces that can, with terrifying ease, make ships, planes, and people simply vanish into the great unknown. As we continue our exploration of Earth's mystery zones, we will find that these patterns of disappearance, the baffling lack of wreckage, and the sudden cessation of contact are not isolated to these two infamous locations, but echo across a planet far more mysterious than we often assume. While these were undoubtedly natural weather phenomena, the sheer scale of the destruction and their occurrence in the general vicinity of the Devil SC has led some to incorporate them into the region's overall aura of mystery, suggesting an ancient recurring pattern of disaster in these waters. It's as if the vessels were lifted from the ocean's surface without disturbing the water below. And encompassing parts of the Philippine Sea, this area has long been a source of profound dread and local legend. Extreme weather, including sudden typhoons and rogue waves, is certainly a factor in the Pacific, a region known for its powerful storms. Some speculate about strong electromagnetic anomalies, powerful enough to disrupt navigation systems and communication equipment. Others point to the possibility of temporal distortions or localized rifts in space-time, concepts often found in science fiction but sometimes invoked to explain instantaneous disappearances. The ancient Japanese legends of Oni and powerful Ryer controlling the deep waters resonate with these more fantastical interpretations, suggesting an inherent, perhaps supernatural power at play. However, many disappearances have occurred during calm conditions, making weather an insufficient sole explanation. Underwater volcanic activity is another popular theory. The Pacific Ring of Fire, a highly seismically active zone, runs directly through or near parts of the Devil's Sea. Submarine eruptions could create sudden, violent upwellings, gas releases, or even superbubbles of hot water and gas, capable of capsizing or engulfing vessels without warning. The methane hydrate theory, too, finds fertile ground here, given the geological conditions. Historical records and local narratives speak of countless fishing boats and even larger ships disappearing over generations. However, it was during the post-World War II era, much like the Bermuda Triangle, that the frequency and scale of disappearances escalated, drawing the attention of the Japanese government and international observers. Unlike its Western counterpart, the mysteries of the Devil's Sea are deeply intertwined with ancient folklore, tales of sea monsters, and a history of documented disappearances that predate modern scientific inquiry. For centuries, Japanese fishermen and mariners have whispered tales of this perilous zone. While the Bermuda Triangle gained global notoriety in the mid-20th century, the Devil's Sea's reputation as a zone of anomaly is far older. One of the most compelling and heavily cited cases occurred in the early 1950s. The Japanese government, increasingly concerned by the alarming rate of vessel losses in the region, dispatched a research vessel, the Kayo Maruno 5. In 1952, its mission was to investigate these mysterious occurrences and perhaps uncover their cause. Tragically, the Kayo Maruno 5 itself vanished in the Devil's Sea with its entire crew and scientific personnel. 31 lives in total. No distress signal was received, and only fragments of debris were later found, further deepening the enigma. The Japanese government officially designated the area a danger zone, advising vessels to avoid it. This official acknowledgement underscored the severity of the situation and the inability of conventional explanations to account for the losses. Beyond the Kayo Maru 5. Numerous other incidents have plagued the Devil's Sea. The theories proposed to explain the Devil's Sea phenomena often parallel those applied to the Bermuda Triangle. Beyond these more conventional, albeit extreme, geological explanations, the Devil's Sea also attracts theories of a more exotic nature. One fascinating historical anecdote relates to Kublai Khan's attempts to invade Japan in the late 13th century. What sets the Devil's Sea apart, however, is its historical depth and the cultural embeddedness of its mystery. The Devil's Sea remains an active shipping lane, and while maritime technology has advanced significantly, the occasional disappearance still sends shivers down the spines of those who traverse its waters. Our journey now takes us far from the ocean's depths to a land of raw, untamed majesty, where the scale of the wilderness itself dwarfs human endeavor. Alaska. While the Bermuda Triangle and the Devil's Sea are defined by water, Alaska boasts its own infamous zone of unexplained disappearances. A vast and terrifying expanse often referred to as the Alaskan Triangle. This region, generally defined by lines connecting Juneau, Anchorage, and Barrow, encompasses some of the most remote and unforgiving terrain on Earth, from active volcanoes and glacial ice fields to impenetrable forests and endless tundra. And within this formidable landscape, people and their aircraft vanish with a chilling regularity that defies conventional explanation. Unlike the maritime triangles, the Alaska Triangle's victims are overwhelmingly small planes. Experienced bush pilots and adventurous hikers or hunters. The sheer number of missing persons here is staggering. Since 1970 alone, over 20,000 people have disappeared in Alaska. A disproportionately high figure given its relatively sparse population. While many can be attributed to the inherent dangers of such extreme environments, sudden whiteouts, treacherous terrain, or hypothermia, a significant number of cases remain utterly baffling, leaving search and rescue teams scratching their heads and families with no closure. Perhaps the most famous disappearance that cemented the Alaska Triangle's reputation occurred in 1972. Thomas Hale Boggs Sr., a sitting U.S. Congressman and House Majority Leader, is on a campaign trip with Congressman Nick Begich and an aide. Russell Brown, their Cessna 310, piloted by experienced Alaskan pilot Don Johns, departed Anchorage for Juneau. The weather was clear, the flight routine. And then, without a single distress call or any indication of trouble, the plane vanished. Despite one of the largest and most extensive search operations in U.S. history, involving 40 military aircraft, countless civilian planes, and over a month of searching across 3 to 5 square miles, no trace of the plane or its occupants was ever found. It was as if they had simply evaporated into the thin Alaskan air. The sheer scale and official nature of this loss thrust the Alaska Triangle into the national spotlight, but it was far from an isolated incident. Many disappearances in Alaska occur under equally perplexing circumstances. Pilots report sudden instrument failures, disorienting magnetic anomalies, or bizarre, unexplainable visual phenomena before losing contact. Hikers even experienced outdoorsmen seemingly walk off established trails and are never seen again, leaving behind no footprints, no struggle, and no indication of what happened. It's not uncommon for search dogs to refuse to enter certain areas, or for rescue crews to report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread or being watched. So, what could be behind these widespread disappearances in a land so different from the open oceans? The theories are as varied as the terrain itself. One prominent explanation points to the unique geological activity of the region. Alaska is part of the Pacific Ring of Fire, with numerous active volcanoes and significant seismic activity. Some hypothesize that volcanic vents could release gases that disorient pilots or hikers, or even create localized atmospheric disturbances. The intense magnetic anomalies caused by vast mineral deposits and tectonic shifts could also play a role, severely affecting compasses and navigation systems, aiding experienced pilots to become hopelessly lost in featureless terrain. The extreme weather is undoubtedly a major factor. Alaska experiences some of the most rapid and dramatic weather shifts on Earth. Clear skies can turn into blizzards or dense fog in minutes, creating whiteout conditions where the ground, sky, and horizon merge into an indistinguishable void. Sudden downdrafts, mountain winds, and icing conditions are common dangers for aircraft. However, many vanishings occur during seemingly benign conditions, challenging this as the sole explanation. Then there are the more unconventional, often chilling theories. The concept of vortexes or energy anomalies finds traction here, similar to those proposed for the oceanic triangles. Some believe that powerful, unseen energy fields exist within the triangle, capable of disrupting electronics, disorienting individuals, or even, in more speculative theories, creating portals to other dimensions or realities. The vastness and untouched nature of the Alaskan wilderness lend themselves to such ideas, a place where the veil between worlds might be thinner. Another set of theories delves into the cryptids and paranormal. Alaska is rich with Native American folklore, much of it describing ancient powerful beings that inhabit the wilderness. Tales of the Bigfoot like Kushtaka or other unseen entities have been passed down for generations. While these are often dismissed as mere myth, the persistent nature of unexplainable disappearances leads some to wonder if something truly unknown, and perhaps malevolent, lurks in the deepest, darkest corners of the wilderness. The idea of large, unknown predators is also proposed, though the lack of remains for missing persons challenges this. The unique permafrost environment also presents challenges. Bodies or wreckage can be quickly swallowed by thawing ground, hidden beneath dense foliage, or buried under accumulating snow and ice, making recovery almost impossible. This undoubtedly contributes to the no-trace phenomenon. Ultimately, the Alaska Triangle remains a profound enigma. It is a place where the grandeur of nature meets its terrifying indifference, where the known dangers of the wilderness collide with a residue of incidents that defy logical explanation. For every reasoned analysis of weather or geology, there's another case. A pilot's last bewildered words, a hiker's inexplicable vanishing act that pushes the boundaries of our understanding. It serves as a stark reminder that even in our modern mapped world, there are still vast territories where the Earth holds its secrets fiercely, swallowing those who venture too deep into its mysterious heart. And just as we've seen on land, similar baffling zones exist not on Earth's surface, but hidden beneath it. From the wind-swept peaks and dense forests of Alaska, we now descend into a realm of unimaginable pressure, absolute darkness, and crushing cold. The Mariana Trench, located in the western Pacific Ocean, east of the Mariana Islands. This isn't a triangle of disappearances in the conventional sense. Instead, it is a single, colossal geological feature that represents the deepest known point on Earth, and within its abyssal depths lie mysteries that challenge our understanding of life, geology, and perhaps even the limits of human exploration. The first manned descent occurred in 1960, when the bathyscaphe Trieste, carrying Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh, reached the Challenger Deep. His mission, like others, aimed to collect scientific data, capture stunning visuals, and expand our understanding of this alien environment. While these expeditions have brought back invaluable data, new species, unique geological formations like hydrothermal vents spewing superheated, mineral-rich water, they have also underscored how little we truly know. It was a monumental achievement, proving that humans could survive such extreme conditions. But it also highlighted the immense challenges. Sonar readings have occasionally detected strange, unexplained sounds emanating from the depths, sometimes described as metallic clangs, deep hums, or even rhythmic pulses. While many can be attributed to natural seismic activity or marine life, some remain unidentified, leading to speculation about unknown geological processes, or even, in more far-fetched theories, intelligent activity. Every expedition, every sample collected, every image captured, reveals something new and often unexpected. What geological formations lie hidden beneath layers of sediment? Instead, it is a vast, profound void where the very concept of known ceases to apply. It is a place that holds secrets, not because things vanish from it, but because so much has vanished into it, from the light of the sun to the touch of human hands. It stands as a testament to the fact that even on our own planet, there are still places so extreme, so alien, that they continue to guard their profound mysteries with an unyielding grip, daring us to explore and challenging our very definitions of what is possible. And sometimes, the most baffling disappearances aren't of people or planes, but of entire ancient civilizations. What chemical reactions are occurring in the extreme heat of the hydrothermal vents, creating entirely new compounds? Could there be undiscovered energy sources, or even clues to the very origins of life on Earth, preserved in its ancient sediments? Piccard and Walsh reported seeing what appeared to be a flatfish on the seafloor, a creature that seemed impossibly large for that depth, sparking immediate scientific debate and wonder. Scientific equipment, probes, and even parts of submersibles have been lost or malfunctioned in its unforgiving environment. The crushing pressure can instantly implode anything not specifically designed to withstand it. This environment essentially acts as a colossal, natural disposal unit, preserving or utterly obliterating whatever descends into it. Could there be fragments of ancient, vanished civilizations or even extraterrestrial materials that have found their way to the bottom over millennia, preserved by the unique conditions? It's a thought that has captivated science fiction writers and scientists alike. The potential for discovering creatures that defy our current biological classifications, species that have evolved in complete isolation from the surface world for millions of years, is immense. Could there be organisms that challenge our understanding of evolutionary biology, or even life that doesn't rely on sunlight for energy in any indirect way. The discovery of giant amoebas and bizarre deep-sea fish gives us only a tantalizing glimpse. While it doesn't swallow ships or planes from the surface, the trench itself is a profound zone of the unknown, holding secrets that have vanished from our sight for millennia, potentially housing phenomena beyond our current comprehension. To truly grasp the Mariana Trench, we must first comprehend its scale. The trench was formed by the subduction of the Pacific Plate beneath the smaller Mariana Plate, our fundamental process of plate tectonics. This geological activity makes it a dynamic and volatile environment, constantly shifting and revealing new aspects of Earth's inner workings. But beyond the geological marvel, the trench embodies a different kind of mystery, the mystery of the unexplored, the unknown species, and the tantalizing possibility of secrets hidden for eons. For decades, human exploration of the trench was severely limited by technology. More recently, in 2012, filmmaker James Cameron made a solo dive to the Challenger deep in his submersible, the Deep-Sea Challenger. The mysteries of the Mariana Trench are manifold. Firstly, undiscovered life forms. Scientists believe that only a tiny fraction of the species in the deep ocean, especially in the trench, have been identified. Secondly, geological anomalies and unexplained sounds. The extreme pressures and constant tectonic activity in the trench make it a nexus for geological phenomena we barely understand. Thirdly, the ghosts of the deep. The trench is not a place where ships disappear from the surface, but it has certainly swallowed things. Perhaps the most profound mystery of the Mariana Trench is simply the sheer unknown. It represents one of the last truly unexplored frontiers on Earth. The Mariana Trench, therefore, is not a zone of disappearance in the immediate sudden sense of the Bermuda Triangle. From the deep, dark abyss of the Mariana Trench, we now ascend to a different kind of mystery, one not of sudden disappearances, but of a gradual, yet profound, vanishing act that reshaped the course of human history. Our focus shifts to the Indian subcontinent and the legendary Saraswati River, a mythical waterway whose very existence was long debated, yet whose disappearance holds the key to understanding the rise and fall of one of the world's earliest and most advanced civilizations, the Indus Valley Civilization, also known as the Harappan Civilization. This isn't a place that swallowed ships, but a river that swallowed entire cities, leaving behind only the ghost of a once mighty culture. For centuries, the Saraswati was considered a sacred, almost mythical river in ancient Hindu texts like the Rig Veda. It was described as a mighty perennial river flowing from the Himalayas to the Arabian Sea, a source of prosperity and the cradle of Vedic culture. Yet on modern maps, no such river exists. This discrepancy led many scholars to dismiss the Saraswati as purely mythological, a poetic ideal rather than a geographical reality. However, archaeological discoveries beginning in the 19th and 20th centuries started to paint a different picture. The unearthing of extensive urban centers like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro in what is now Pakistan and northwestern India revealed a highly sophisticated Bronze Age civilization that flourished. Between 2500 and 1900 BCE, this civilization boasted well-planned cities with advanced sanitation systems, intricate drainage, grid layouts, and monumental public structures, rivaling, and in some aspects, even surpassing, contemporary civilizations in Mesopotamia and Egypt. What was puzzling, however, was that many of these key sites, particularly in the Gagar-Hakra river system region of modern-day India and Pakistan, were far from any major perennial rivers today. The real breakthrough came with the advent of satellite imagery and advanced geological studies in the late 20th and early 21st centuries. These technologies allowed researchers to meticulously trace the faint, ancient courses of rivers hidden beneath the sands of the Thar Desert. What they found was astonishing. A massive, dried-up paleo-canal, stretching for over 1,500 kilometers, extending from the Himalayan foothills through Haryana, Rajasthan, and Gujarat, eventually emptying into the Rann of Kutch. This ancient riverbed perfectly aligned with the descriptions of the mythical Saraswati. Geological evidence, including sediment analysis and carbon dating, confirmed that this river was indeed mighty and perennial during the flourishing period of the Indus Valley Civilization. So, how did a river of such immense scale simply vanish? The disappearance of the Saraswati wasn't a sudden cataclysm, but a gradual, yet utterly devastating. Environmental transformation. The primary cause is believed to be tectonic shifts and climatic change. Geological activity in the Himalayas, specifically uplift and subsidence, subtly altered the landscape. Over time, the Sutlej and Yamuna rivers, which were once tributaries of the Saraswati, pirated its waters. The Sutlej shifted westward, becoming a tributary of the Indus, while the Yamuna shifted eastward, joining the Ganges. Deprived of its major Himalayan water sources, the Saraswati began to dwindle. Concurrently, a period of aridity and decreasing monsoon rainfall further exacerbated the river's decline. The lifeblood of the Indus Valley civilization, which relied heavily on the fertile plains irrigated by the Saraswati, began to dry up. This wasn't an overnight disaster. It was a slow, relentless process that played out over centuries, eventually rendering the once thriving river into a series of disconnected, seasonal streams, and eventually a forgotten channel buried beneath the desert sands. The impact of the Saraswati's disappearance on the Indus Valley civilization was catastrophic. Without a reliable water source for agriculture and urban sustenance, the highly organized cities could no longer support their large populations. People were forced to abandon their homes and migrate eastward towards the Ganges Basin, or northwest, towards the remaining Indus River system. This environmental catastrophe is now widely accepted as a primary factor in the decline and eventual collapse of the mature Harappan phase of the Indus Valley civilization around 1900 BCE. The mystery of the Saraswati isn't about people vanishing without a trace, but about an entire thriving civilization that was forced to disappear from its settled landscape because its lifeline vanished. It's a powerful cautionary tale about the delicate relationship between human civilization and its environment. The rediscovery of the Saraswati riverbed and its confirmed role in the Indus Valley civilization has revolutionized our understanding of ancient Indian history and the dynamics of climate change in shaping human societies. The Saraswati reminds us that not all disappearances are instantaneous and dramatic. Some are slow, creeping environmental changes that can wipe away entire ways of life, burying their existence beneath the sands of time. It prompts us to consider other ancient lost civilizations that might have similarly vanished due to climatic shifts or geological transformations, leaving only fragmented clues for us to piece together. This hidden history, unveiled by modern science, teaches us that the Earth itself can be the ultimate disappearance zone. It's not just for individuals, but for the grandest human endeavors. Our next mysterious disappearance takes us to the desolate, unforgiving wilderness of the Ural Mountains in Soviet Russia, to an incident so perplexing, so disturbing, that it has spawned countless theories and remains an open wound in the annals of unexplained phenomena. The Dyatlov Pass incident. This is not a story of a lost ship or a vanished plane, but of 9 experienced hikers found dead under circumstances so bizarre and contradictory that they defy any easy explanation. Their story is a chilling testament to how even well-prepared individuals can vanish into the embrace of the unknown, leaving behind a trail of confounding clues. In January 1959, a group of 10 young, enthusiastic, and highly experienced ski hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute, led by 23-year-old Igor Dyatlov, embarked on a challenging expedition to a Torton mountain. One member, Yuri Yudin, fell ill early in the trek and wisely turned back, a decision that undoubtedly saved his life. The remaining 9 continued, aiming to ascend the mountain and then return to a contact point by February 12th. When they failed to arrive, a search party was launched. They too had died of hypothermia, though Slobodine had a small skull fracture, deemed non-fatal. What they found, starting on February 26th, stunned even hardened investigators and rescue personnel. They were found in a ravine, 75 meters deeper into the forest than the cedar tree, buried under 4 meters of snow. These were the most disturbing findings. Nicholas Thibobrignolis had a massive skull fracture. Ludmila Dubanina and Simeon Zolotaryev had severe chest trauma, consistent with extreme pressure, as if squeezed by a massive force. Low-frequency sound waves inaudible to the human ear, but capable of inducing feelings of dread, panic, nausea, and disorientation. Some believe the hikers stumbled upon a testing ground for a new weapon, perhaps a vacuum bomb or a low-yield nuclear device, or that they were exposed to a chemical agent. The orange spheres reported by other hikers in the region on the night of the incident also fueled this theory. However, concrete evidence remains elusive. A specific infrasound vortex from the mountain could have caused the hikers to flee their tent in a state of terror, leading to hypothermia and accidental injuries in the darkness. While they had a history of protecting their sacred lands, there was no evidence of a struggle, and the nature of the injuries didn't match traditional weaponry. Furthermore, the Mansi were known for being peaceful. This could explain the irrational behavior and the lack of a clear external threat. But the injuries don't match animal attacks, and there were no signs of a struggle around the tent or bodies. However, it doesn't account for the tent being cut from the inside, the internal injuries, or the missing tongue. A slab avalanche could have struck the tent, forcing the hikers to cut their way out and flee. The internal injuries of some victims could be consistent with being buried by snow. It's a mystery frozen in time, a mosaic of baffling clues that continue to confound and fascinate. It reminds us that sometimes the Earth's most mysterious disappearance zones are not grand, sweeping regions, but isolated pockets where the line between natural disaster and something far more sinister becomes terrifyingly blurred. And as we've seen on land and in the sea, some of the most profound disappearances are those that defy not just explanation, but even the very concept of physical evidence. However, this conclusion has been met with skepticism by many researchers and armchair detectives, who point to the lingering inconsistencies and unanswered questions, particularly the nature of the internal injuries and the missing tongue. However, there was no clear evidence of an avalanche path, and the footprints showed the hikers walking away from the tent in an orderly fashion, not fleeing a sudden disaster. Furthermore, experienced mountaineers argue the slope wasn't steep enough for a major avalanche. Most horrifyingly, Dubinina was missing her tongue, eyes, and part of her mouth, and her clothes contained traces of radioactivity. Alexander Kolevatov was also found with severe injuries. Crucially, there were no signs of a struggle or external attack at any of the locations. Their tent was discovered pitched on the slope of Kholat Saiko, or Dead Mountain in the local Mansi language, ominously named for previous mysterious deaths. The case was then closed and the findings classified. This secrecy, combined with the bizarre details, fueled decades of speculation. But the tent wasn't just abandoned. It was slashed open from the inside. Inside, investigators found all the group's belongings: their warm clothes, food, cameras, and diaries, seemingly left in a desperate hurry. Following faint footprints in the snow, investigators discovered a horrifying scene. 3 more bodies, Igor Dyatlov, Zinaida Kolmogorova, and Rustam Slobodan, were found separately between the cedar tree and the tent, in positions suggesting they were attempting to return to the camp. It was the discovery of the remaining 4 bodies in May, after the snow had melted, that truly deepened the mystery. The official Soviet investigation, which concluded in May 1959, stated that the hikers died from a compelling unknown force. Numerous theories have emerged over the years, attempting to explain the Dyatlov Pass incident. 1. Avalanche. This was an early and still popular theory. 2. Infrasound. This theory posits that a rare meteorological phenomenon created infrasound waves. 3. Military testing, secret weapons, the radioactivity on some clothes. The internal injuries and the subsequent secrecy led many to suspect secret Soviet military testing. 4. Mansi attack. The local indigenous Mansi people were initially investigated, but cleared. 5. Wild animals, bears or wolves are present in the Urals. 6. Paradoxical undressing. This psychological phenomenon, associated with severe hypothermia, causes victims to feel intensely hot and strip off their clothes, explaining the barefoot and underwear-clad bodies. In 2019, Russian authorities reopened the investigation, largely concluding that an avalanche was the most probable cause, combined with other factors like poor visibility and paradoxical undressing. The Dyatlov Pass incident remains a chilling testament to the unknown forces that can be unleashed in remote wildernesses.